Hold onto your seats and put down your phones, because Hollywood just hit the self-destruct button in the most scandalous way imaginable. You thought you knew drama. You thought the season finales of your favorite reality shows were wild. You haven't seen nothing yet. Imagine this: you walk into your own home, the sanctuary you've built, the place where you're supposed to feel safest. You walk up the stairs, hand on the doorknob of your master bedroom, expecting maybe a quiet night or a sleeping partner. You push that door open, and what you see doesn't just break your heart, it shatters the entire internet into a million pieces. Lori Harvey just did the unthinkable. She didn't just drop a cryptic Instagram quote. She dropped a nuclear bomb on the reputations of two of the biggest leading men in the industry. We are talking about Michael B. Jordan, the man we all thought was the sexiest man alive with a heart of gold, and Jonathan Majors, the powerhouse actor who's been fighting for his life in the public eye. But what Lori found in that bed? It wasn't a stranger. It wasn't some random fan. It was both of them. Together. And the kicker. The bombshell that's making everyone's jaw hit the floor. Lori is officially revealing that this was not his first time. Are we looking at the ultimate betrayal, or has Hollywood been hiding a secret lifestyle so chaotic it makes the Real Housewives look like a Sunday school picnic? How did the sexiest man alive and his Creed 3 co-star end up in the middle of a bedroom betrayal that's leaving fans stunned and the industry in a total meltdown? Stay tuned, because the Mama Joyce clause was just the beginning. This is the exposure that changes everything. You are not ready for this tea. As we move into the second phase of this investigation, we have to look at the timeline of events that led to that fateful night in Lori Harvey's bedroom. You see, a betrayal of this magnitude doesn't just happen overnight. It is a slow burn, a series of calculated moves and hidden glances that finally culminated in the explosion we are witnessing today. When we analyze the dynamic between Michael B. Jordan and Jonathan Majors, we start to see that the signs were always there, hidden in plain sight under the guise of Hollywood's most celebrated bromance. The bond between Michael and Jonathan reached its peak during the production and press tour for Creed 3. To the public, it looked like two powerhouse actors showing mutual respect. They were seen hugging on red carpets, laughing in interviews, and constantly talking about how they pushed each other to be better. But Lori's new revelation suggests that this pushing was happening in a much more intimate capacity than any of us realized. Insiders from the set have now begun to whisper about late-night trailer visits and private chemistry reads that didn't involve any other members of the cast. Lori mentions that during this period, Michael's behavior at home became increasingly erratic. He would return from long days of filming, not with stories about the production, but with a strange, distant energy. He was physically there, but mentally he was with Jonathan. It was during these months that the foundation of the betrayal was laid. Jonathan Majors, who was already dealing with his own public legal battles, seemed to find a safe harbor in Michael. But instead of being a supportive friend, he became a participant in a deceptive triangle that left Lori on the outside looking in. The financial aspect of this scandal is just as jaw-dropping as the emotional one. Video of the leaked information suggests that Michael B. Jordan was using joint accounts and business expenses to fund high-end getaways for himself and Jonathan under the radar. We are talking about private jets to undisclosed locations, luxury villas where no paparazzi were allowed, and gifts that were disguised as rap presents or professional tokens. While Lori was being told these trips were for business or solo clarity retreats, the reality was that Michael and Jonathan were building a life together in the shadows, all on the dime of a brand built on honesty. Public reaction to these specific details has been a mix of absolute horror and morbid fascination. On one hand, you have the fans who feel personally victimized by Michael's lies. They bought the tickets, they followed the romance with Lori, and they believed in the image of the ideal man. On the other hand, you have the cynics who say this is just the nature of Hollywood, a place where everyone is playing a role, even when the cameras are off. But even the most cynical observers are stunned by the sheer audacity of bringing this behavior into Lori's own bed. The leaked reports also point to a series of anonymous tips that were sent to Lori's camp months ago. At the time, she reportedly dismissed them as hate mail or attempts by the media to break them up. But looking back, those tips were precise. They mentioned specific hotels, specific dates, and even the specific lingo Michael and Jonathan used to communicate in public without raising eyebrows. It turns out they had a coded language, a way of signaling to each other in front of the world while everyone else just saw two colleagues being friendly. This brings us to the Mama Joyce clause. If you aren't familiar with the legal jargon, this is essentially a high-stakes confidentiality and loyalty agreement that Laurie's legal team reportedly had Michael sign. It was designed to protect her brand from exactly this kind of embarrassment. But what we are finding out now is that Michael's attorneys were quietly working on their own Season 6 draft, a countermove intended to nullify those clauses if certain personal discoveries were made. It was a legal chess match being played behind the scenes while the two men were playing house in Laurie's private residence. The fallout is already starting to manifest in the form of quiet cancellations. Sources suggest that several major fashion brands and high-end endorsements are currently in emergency meetings to determine how to distance themselves from Michael B. Jordan. The gentleman image is profitable only as long as people believe it. The moment Laurie opened that door, she didn't just catch her boyfriend, she caught a brand in a lie. And for Jonathan Majors, whose career was already on life support, this is the final blow. Hollywood can forgive many things, but it rarely forgives being the other man in a scandal that destroys the industry's golden boy. Laurie hasn't just stopped at talking about the bedroom incident. She has reportedly turned over her findings to private investigators who are looking into just how deep this rabbit hole goes. There are whispers of a secret apartment in Los Angeles, rented under a shell company name, that served as a regular meeting spot for Michael and Jonathan. If this is true, it means the betrayal wasn't just a moment of weakness or a one-time mistake, it was a lifestyle. It was a calculated, long-term deception that required planning, massive amounts of money, and a total lack of empathy for the woman Michael claimed to love. As we look at the public reactions, the Laurie Harvey hive is out in full force. They are dissecting every single old interview where the three of them were in the same room. People are noticing the way Michael would look at Jonathan while Laurie was talking, or how Jonathan would always find a way to mention Michael's name in every single press junket, even when the question had nothing to do with him. What we once thought was professional admiration now looks like a desperate attempt to stay connected in a world that wasn't ready for their truth. But the question remains, why now? Why did Laurie decide to blow the lid off this entire thing? Some say it was the not the first time factor. Discovering a betrayal once is a heartbreak. Discovering it is a repeated, chronic pattern of behavior is a call to war. Laurie realized she wasn't just a girlfriend. She was a cover. She was the beautiful face Michael used to maintain his leading man status while he explored his true desires with Jonathan. The sheer disrespect of using her home and her bed as the stage for this betrayal was the final straw that broke the camel's back. The legal implications are staggering. We are hearing talk of breach of contract and emotional distress lawsuits that could reach into the tens of millions. If the Mama Joyce clause is as airtight as they say, Michael B. Jordan might find himself losing more than just his reputation. He could be looking at a financial crisis that wipes out a decade of hard work and investments. And Jonathan Majors, who was already struggling with mounting legal fees, could find himself permanently blacklisted from every major studio and streaming service in the world. As this second part of our investigation draws to a close, the tension is at an all-time high. We have seen the betrayal, we have seen the legal maneuvering, and we have seen the calculated lies. But what happens when the men in question finally have to speak? What happens when the PR machines can no longer hide the truth? We are moving into the final stage of this exposure, where we will look at the direct aftermath, the potential resignations from major film projects, and the explosive messages Laurie is threatened to release. The layers of this scandal are still peeling back, and each one is more rotten than the last. We are about to dive into the messages, the actual words exchanged between Michael and Jonathan that Laurie found on that phone on that fateful night. These are the words that confirm this was an ongoing affair, a deep-seated connection that completely bypassed any loyalty to Laurie. Brace yourselves, because the final part of this script is where the remaining pieces of the puzzle fall into place and the true cost of fame is revealed. We are stepping into the heart of the storm, and nobody is safe. Now we enter the final, most devastating chapter of this Hollywood meltdown. If you thought the betrayal was bad, the aftermath and the cold, hard evidence Laurie Harvey is holding over their heads will make your blood run cold. This isn't just about a broken relationship anymore. This is about the total collapse of two of the biggest empires in the entertainment industry. The veil has been lifted, the masks have been ripped off, and what lies beneath is a web of messages, secret agreements, and a level of calculated deception that would make a seasoned spy blush. The most explosive part of Laurie's revelation involves the digital footprint left behind. We're talking about the Laurie leaks, a series of encrypted messages and voice notes she discovered on Michael's secondary device. These weren't just casual texts, they were a roadmap of a year-long affair. In one voice note, Jonathan's voice is clearly heard discussing how they had to keep the act going during the Creed 3 premiere to ensure the box office numbers stayed high. They were literally laughing about how the world was buying their brotherhood story while they were planning their next secret rendezvous. The sheer coldness of these conversations is what has left Laurie, and now the public, absolutely reeling. It proves that Michael wasn't just confused. He was a willing participant in a grand lie. But let's talk about the immediate fallout. In the wake of this bedroom exposure, major studios are reportedly scrambling. There are whispers from the inner sanctums of Marvel and beyond that morality clauses are being triggered. Michael B. Jordan, the face of so many family-friendly and heroic brands, is now a liability. We are hearing reports that at least 2 major production deals have been put on ice indefinitely. The industry is terrified of the Laurie effect. When Laurie Harvey speaks, the culture listens, and her silence was the only thing keeping these men afloat. Now that she's burning the bridge, the water is rushing in, and it's freezing. Jonathan Majors, who was already walking a tightrope with his previous legal issues, is now facing a total blacklisting. Insiders claim that his representation is looking for a way out, as defending a repeat offender of trust is becoming an impossible task. The public backlash isn't just coming from a place of moral judgment, it's coming from a place of exhaustion. Fans are tired of being sold a version of a person that doesn't exist. The alpha male persona Jonathan built was shattered the moment Laurie revealed he was hiding in her own home, participating in the ultimate betrayal against the woman who had shown him nothing but respect in social circles. The legal Mama Joyce clause we mentioned earlier. It's officially been activated. Laurie's attorneys have reportedly filed a massive civil suit, not just for the breach of the loyalty agreement, but for the unauthorized use of her properties for Michael's extracurricular activities. The discovery phase of this lawsuit is expected to bring even more dirt to the surface. We are talking about bank statements, GPS logs from Michael's luxury SUVs, and even security footage from private clubs where the 2 men were allegedly seen together when they were supposed to be on press junkets. This isn't just a breakup, it's a forensic audit of a lie. And what about the industry friends who knew? This is where the scandal gets even more combustible. Laurie has hinted that Michael and Jonathan weren't the only ones in on the secret. Several high-profile celebrities and PR fixers were reportedly helping them cover their tracks, providing alibis and hosting private parties where the 2 could be themselves away from the prying eyes of the paparazzi. Laurie is threatened to name names. If she does, we aren't just looking at the downfall of 2 actors. We are looking at the exposure of an entire Hollywood protection ring that prioritizes profit over people. The public reaction has shifted from shock to a demand for accountability. Hashtags are trending, boycott movements are forming, and the comment sections of Michael's latest posts are a war zone. People are asking the hard questions. How could someone so perfect be so manipulative? How could Jonathan Majors, knowing his career was already on the line, take such a massive risk? The consensus seems to be that fame creates a sense of invincibility, a belief that you are so big, so talented, and so loved that the rules of basic human decency simply don't apply to you. As the dust begins to settle on this initial explosion, the focus is turning to Laurie's next move. She has been offered multi-million-dollar deals for a tell-all book and a limited documentary series. The world wants to see the footage. They want to see the messages. They want to see the moment the sexiest man alive realized he had been caught. Laurie, true to her nature, is playing it cool, letting the evidence trickle out just enough to keep the pressure on. She isn't just a victim in this story. She is the narrator, and she is making sure every chapter hurts. This scandal serves as a grim reminder of the hidden side of celebrity culture. It's a world where loyalty is a commodity, where friendships are often PR stunts, and where the people we admire are often the most talented at hiding their true selves. Michael B. Jordan and Jonathan Majors had the world at their feet, but their choices have led them to a place where they are now the cautionary tales of the decade. The bedroom betrayal wasn't just the end of a relationship. It was the end of an era of blind celebrity worship. In the final analysis, we have to wonder if Hollywood can ever go back to business as usual. Can we ever watch a Michael B. Jordan movie again without thinking about the Mama Joyce clause? Can we watch Jonathan Majors on screen without wondering what's keeping in the shadows? The trust is gone. The glitz has faded. All that's left is the cold, hard reality of a double life exposed under the harshest lights imaginable. Lori Harvey has officially closed the door on this chapter of her life, but the echoes of that door slamming are still ringing through every studio in Burbank and every talent agency in Beverly Hills. She has proven that no matter how big you are, no matter how many Oscars you win or how many millions you have in the bank, you are never too big to be held accountable. The truth always finds a way out, and this time, it came out with a vengeance. As we wrap up this investigative deep dive into the most explosive scandal of 2026, we are left with more questions than answers. What other secrets are hiding behind those glossy magazine covers? Who else is living a double life while the world cheers them on? One thing is for certain, the entertainment industry will never be the same. The Mama Joyce clause was just the tip of the iceberg, and as the ice continues to melt, we are seeing the true shape of the monsters beneath. So, what do you think? Is there any way back for Michael B. Jordan? Can Jonathan Majors ever recover from being caught in the middle of this Hollywood triangle? Or is this the final curtain call for two of the industry's brightest stars? The comments are already on fire, and we want to hear your take. Was Lori right to expose them so publicly, or should this have stayed behind closed doors? Stay tuned to this channel, because this investigation is far from over. As more Lori leaks hit the internet and the legal battles heat up, we will be here to bring you every single update, every leaked message, and every shocking revelation. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because in the world of Hollywood scandal, the truth is often crazier than fiction, and we are just getting started. The truth is out there, and we are going to find every last bit of it, but the story is only just beginning. There you have it, the collapse of a golden era. We've peeled back the layers of the glitz, the black excellence branding, and the calculated bromance to find a reality that is far more sinister than any of us could have imagined. Lori Harvey didn't just open a bedroom door, she opened Pandora's box, and Hollywood is currently suffocating under the weight of the truth. Michael B. Jordan and Jonathan Majors are no longer just actors. They are the faces of a betrayal that has redefined the meaning of the word scandal. But now, the real conversation begins with you. Is this the definitive end for Michael B. Jordan's career? Or is he too big to fail? Can Jonathan Majors ever step back into the light after being caught in the middle of such a personal and professional web of lies? And perhaps most importantly, do you believe Lori Harvey is done, or is she holding on to even more explosive evidence to ensure these two never recover? The industry is watching, and so are we. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Was this a moment of human weakness, or a cold, calculated pattern of deception? If you want to stay ahead of the Lori leaks and be the first to know when the next set of messages drops, you know what to do. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on those notifications. We are digging deeper into the Mama Joyce clause and the secret Hollywood protection rings as we speak. You don't want to miss what's coming next. This is the truth, exposed. See you in the next one.